Welcome to the Wasting Time podcast. We are at episode 40, the big 4-0, Chris.
Yeah, we made it there, one way or another. How you doing, mate?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Yeah. We've got a lot of time on our hands, so we can potentially get to the big 5-0.
Yeah, I think there's a decent chance of doing that in the near future. Because with everything that's happening in the world, a lot of us are kind of confined to our homes.
Well, surely there's a hell of a lot of opportunity for more guests as well. So, I mean, obviously it's really horrific what's going on around the world, and we're in a really shit situation. But actually, for us, it might not be such a bad thing.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean,
the availability of, I guess, musicians and bands and stuff surely is going to help us.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just getting that balance because, like we're all watching the news and, it's quite, a lot of this is quite, it's quite devastating really, and, so a lot of the time, the last thing you want to do is think or talk about music and, other stuff. But then at the same time, it is a nice distraction. And I suppose we're generally reaching out to people where this is their livelihood as well. So, they might want to talk about how it's affecting them and stuff. So I think we should definitely be reaching out to people over the next few weeks for sure.
Yeah, and I think we've seen it already as well. Well, I've certainly seen a lot of it in terms of the role, I guess, things like podcasts and videos and kind of everything that lives in the digital world. Like what an important role it plays for a lot of people now in terms of people are having to stay in and self-isolate. And,
yeah, definitely.
I've seen some amazing stuff online this last week or so in terms of people just being creative in terms of how they can keep things going. I guess from a virtual and digital perspective.
Right. Exactly.
Lucy works in schools, and there's some amazing stuff in terms of learning and what have you in that world. But I've seen loads of bands as well still trying to keep people going with like. Just banter and a bit of music here and there.
Of course.
I don't know what's going on between. Have you seen the back and forth that's going on between Frank Turner and Fat Mike at the moment?
I'm aware of that. I've seen that.
I'm not sure
following on social media, but I haven't really paid attention. What is it? Kind of like a all in good fun, like
I don't know,
rivalry or something.
I try to go back and like find the origins of like what is going on. But couldn't really make any sense of it.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I think it's great to see, and I think people will need that, and I guess there'll be more of it as things go on. I guess really.
Yeah, definitely, and it's kind of nice that we're kind of obviously part of the podcast community now, and just want to give a shout out to the guys in Growing Up Punk podcast, which is. A podcast that's quite similar to ours, based in the States that I listen to, and they reached out to us, and because they're putting together an episode with featuring different podcast hosts talking about records to listen to during when you're quarantined. So yeah, just want to say hey to those.
But guys. Listen to ours first.
Of course, yeah.
We're going to create some sort of rivalry here that we probably don't want to create. Yeah. It's supposed to be an alliance.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, these are strange times indeed, man.
Yeah, so it's really disappointing to hear about the Manchester Punk Fest, which we were booked to go to.
Yeah.
So that's been called off as we were expecting. Maybe some opportunity. I know we were going down to record podcasts episodes with loads of bands on the lineup there.
Yeah.
Maybe some opportunity just to keep them in and do an episode as we would normally do.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, obviously we spoke to a lot of bands and arranged a lot of interviews, so that, like you say, there's no reason why we shouldn't just keep those interviews but do them in the usual format.
Yeah.
It's just, and it's a shame as well because I was thinking, I speak to you frequently, but I haven't seen you actually in person since we did the Chris Messer interview, which was almost a year ago. So that was going to be the first time I saw you.
Made me feel bad.
Yeah, Well, no, I mean, it's not.
Well, actually, no. You should fucking feel bad as well.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, more guilty even than you are with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just one of those things that can't be helped.
Well, got some money back in our pockets now after cancelling that weekend,
that's something,
I'll put it to one side for a rainy day. We can hook up somewhere. Yeah, we'll keep it going, I guess.
Yeah.
So what's new in the world of music then? Got anything on your radar?
Yeah, like quite a few things that came out this week that I've obviously had some time to listen to. Some things I want to mention. Just let me know if you've heard them as well. But so All Time Low have still got an album coming out. They released a song called Getaway Green, which they would have written with Zach Safini, who was the first guest that I had with you, which was actually just a year ago this week. So it's funny how time flies. But so this song Getaway Green, very, very poppy, but I quite like it.
I've heard it's three tracks they've got.
Yeah,
released,
that's right.
Isn't it? Yeah. I mean, it's probably, I'll be honest, probably the wrong side of poppy for me.
Just a bit too far,
side.
Is it? Yeah.
Getaway Green is I prefer. I'm actually Sleeping In's probably my favourite of the three.
Yeah, it's got a good hook on it. That one hasn't it?
Yeah, and Some Kind of Disaster I think is probably, my second favourite. But yeah, Getaway Green is very, I think, a bit too just over that line.
Just slightly too far. Fair enough. I saw Newfound Glory put out a new song because they've got an album end of May.
I've been a bit disappointed with those two tracks, to be honest with you.
Oh, really? Not a fan of either?
Yeah. The first one they released, what was the first one called?
Greatest of All Time.
Yeah.
The one that with like the lyrics about the Chicago Bulls in the chorus.
Yeah. I think that's the better of the two.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I quite like this new one, but I just feel like it's missing the chorus. Like it's just a verse over and over again, and then a breakdown at the end, and then it's over. Yeah. So it's not terrible, but it's a little bit filler for me. Alkaline Trio put out an EP the other day.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that passed me by.
Yeah, it's only 3 songs. 2 are Dan's, 1 is Matt's, I think. Very listenable. It was better than that last album they did, in my opinion. So check that out. Also, listeners, if you haven't heard that, check it out. And another thing I was impressed with, so I've seen the name Free Throw band kicking around for a little bit, and I finally got around to listening to them, and they put out a new single. I don't know when it came out, but it's this year. But I really like their sound. I don't know if you've heard them yet.
I haven't. No. Where are they from?
I think they're American. Could be wrong. I'm gonna actually Google this while I'm with you because I'll get it wrong. But yeah, it's kind of like the vocals are quite shouty, but it's quite poppy at the same time. It's kind of it's cool.
Cool. I'll check it out.
They're from Nashville.
Right.
But yeah, that was kind of it for me. Was there anything else that that you've had a chance to listen to in these crazy times we're living through?
No, is the answer to that question.
Yeah, no, I can appreciate it.
It's just been a bit crazy for me in the last couple of weeks. So yeah, I'm a bit out of the loop.
No, I get that, mate. I get that.
So I'm relying on you at the moment to keep me in the loop.
Yeah, no worries. Well, with that said, maybe I can introduce today's guest. So this was recorded a couple of weeks ago, and I did this one by myself just because this band were on tour and they just had, they were really limited for time, and they could only do a time where I could book a room at work and just get away and do some recording. So I took my mic into work, and it was a crazy week for you, so it really didn't fit with your diary. So I spoke to TJ, who's the guitarist in Sleep on It, who are a band from Chicago who are kind of making a lot of waves right now. Alternative press love them, so they're getting loads of exposure. And it's kind of a shame because one of the things we talked about, as you'll hear, is them coming over in May because they're playing they were playing Slam Dunk, and they were doing some UK shows around that. So we talked a lot about that. They played Slam Dunk 2 years ago, so we talked about that, which is cool. But I'm assuming Slam Dunk's not happening because nothing's going to be happening in May, is it, concert wise? So
no.
So that
surprised they haven't even announced that already. To be honest,
yeah, exactly. I haven't noticed that they have, but it must be coming if they haven't announced that already.
Yeah.
So yeah, we talked about that, which is a shame. And one thing I need to apologise to the listeners for before we go into it is that, so when we were recording this, we did get cut off twice. I'll edit it so you won't notice that. But one thing you will notice is the first 10 minutes, my voice is really quiet in it. I'm really sorry for that. Because basically, Nick, what I did, when you record it, everyone together instead of multi-track, I did that. So it only lasts for the first 10 minutes. I mean, you can still hear me, but I'm a little quieter. But once that first 10 minutes out of the way, I'll turn myself up.
I have one episode off, and it
exactly
just all falls apart.
Yeah. But yeah, it was cool. Like TJ sounded like a nice guy, and it's always really cool when you get a band who's quite big, to give you a bit of their time. So I think they were in Atlanta, Georgia. Just nice. He was about to go to the venue to load in when he spoke to me, and here's the interview. Hey, so I am joined today by TJ, who's the guitarist in the band Sleep On It. How's it going, man?
It's going well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good.
It's mid-afternoon here in London. I think if I've looked at your schedule correctly, are you guys in Atlanta today?
Yeah, that's correct. Our photographer, Haley, is actually from here, so we are staying at her place, and then we are playing at the Masquerade in Atlanta, Georgia today.
What sort of size venue is that?
The Masquerade's kind of cool because it's actually 3 rooms. You got heaven, hell, and purgatory.
Okay.
And
which one are you in today?
We are in hell, I believe.
Okay.
Which it just seems somewhat appropriate, I guess. But yeah, we've played here quite a few times, and it's a great venue, great staff, and we have a lot of great fans in Atlanta, so it feels good.
Okay, this is a headline tour, right?
Yes, this is our first proper U.S. headline tour.
Oh, okay, that's pretty huge. How's that been so far?
It's been honestly pretty incredible. Like, we didn't really know what to expect with it being our first headline tour.
Yeah.
And if people would come and if people would be excited and if people really love the new album or not, because we've only done one tour on the album so far, and that was with Don Broco back in September, October. And at the time, the album had just come out, and so we were kind of, playing in front of a different crowd every night. So coming into this tour, we were equal parts excited and nervous that people would come. But the first week has been incredible. We just finished up playing the East Coast and some of the Midwest, and a lot of the shows were sold out.
Yeah, I could see that from your tour poster.
Yeah, so I'd say it's about as much as we could ask for a first headlining tour so far.
Okay, what kind of size cap venues are these?
Anywhere between like 200 and like 400 or 500.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, some just kind of depends on the city, but most of the venues are right within that size.
Okay, I noticed. I think it was last night you guys played with another guest we had on quite recently. Were you in Florida? Was it Florida you were in yesterday?
Yeah, we were in Orlando.
Yeah. I saw that band Felicity were on that.
Yeah, they opened the show last night. Yeah.
How were they?
Great. Yeah, it's awesome. We've had a local band on most of the shows, which has been really cool. And that's kind of like how we got our start too, was as a local band opening for bigger bands on tour. So it's been nice to kind of pay it forward in that sense.
Another thing I saw you guys have got coming up, like you got yourselves on that 4 Chord Festival, which I think is ran by one of the guys. Do you know that band Eternal Boy?
Yes.
Yeah, like how did you get on that? Because you were friends with him, or like how did that come about? Because that lineup is pretty fucking impressive.
It's bonkers. Yeah. No, that was really like our booking agent, Brad Weisman, kind of hit us up and was just like, "Hey, we got this opportunity," and it was such a no-brainer. We're like, "Yes, Blink-182, State Champs 4 Years Strong." Yes. Like, there's no way we're not doing that. That's amazing. So yeah, that's kind of how that came about.
Have you ever played with anyone as big as Blink before? I suppose you've been on festivals, so yeah, I suppose technically you have here.
Yeah. We've played at festivals with bigger bands, but Blink was really the reason that I picked up a guitar in the first place.
Right.
Like a lot of people
I can relate to
my
that,
age in bands, it's a pretty unanimous feeling. So to be on the same festival lineup as them is amazing.
That's pretty huge. What did you think of 9?
I thought it was cool. There was like some songs that I really liked, and some songs that were just like cool. But I'm just happy that they're still a band making music.
Sure.
The fact that they're still making music is cool enough for me.
Yeah. I suppose, like, obvious other things to talk to you about what you're coming up. You're coming over our way again. Slam Dunk. You played Slam Dunk before, though, right?
Yes, yeah, we played a couple of years ago.
Yeah, how was that?
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah. And the lineup this year is even crazier. So again, that's just another like festival that we're just like really excited to be a part of, and not just as a band, but as like fans of music. There's so many bands that we love that are playing. So very excited about that one.
Who are some of the standouts for you personally?
Really excited to see Sum 41. Really excited to see the Don Broco again. Some of our friends in State Champs. Excited to see them again. Just other bands that we're friends with. Trash Boats is on it. So, yeah.
And I think you're playing with Trash Boat at the New Cross Inn as well, I noticed, which is kind of like become a sort of... It's a small venue, but it's like a London staple these days. So.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, very excited for really that whole week. So, it should be very exciting.
Nice, man. Like, so when you came last time, was that your first time in the UK as a band or personally?
Yeah, last time that we played Slam Dunk was our first time playing overseas.
Okay.
And so we've just been like really excited to get back and like do it all again. I think like this year is like the perfect year to do it. Like it's just perfect lineup. We're really excited to be a part of it.
Nice. So it could be another big year for you guys, because it looks like last year was pretty big, because what the last full length, that was what, sort of in autumn time 2019. Did you notice that was received pretty positively?
The album, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's been humbling how well it's been received, and it worked out really great. We were on tour with Don Broco when the album came out, so it was really nice. Like that first initial like few weeks of when the album came out, like the hype surrounding all of that was like really awesome. And I think just like it's always hard to tell really how well something is received until you play it live, at least for us.
Yeah. And
I remember the first time that we played Under the Moment, which is the first single from the album. It was just like nutty. Like it was before even the album had come out, and just seeing like everybody sing all the words was just like insane. So that was amazing.
You put out a single quite recently called
I
think one thing that interested me, because I was watching, like, you guys seem to do loads of videos for AP at the minute. They seem to love you guys, which obviously has got to be good for your for amplifying what you're doing.
It's great. Yeah,
sorry, go on.
I was gonna say we've grown to have a great relationship with AP, and I think like if you just put a camera in front of most of the guys in this band, we're just really dumb enough to just be entertaining, at least. So they keep inviting us back. So that's nice.
Because you guys are clearly appreciating it and enjoying it, and obviously that comes off well. So essentially, them and Rock Sound are kind of like the leaders for that kind of for our scene these days. And I was saying like 10 years ago, it might have been absolute punk.net, but for sure, Alt Press and Rock Sound seem to be the ones. So that's really cool that they seem to like you guys. But the reason I brought it up was like I noticed on one of those videos, I think it was your singer was talking about, you know, what you guys might do next sound wise, because like that obviously you just put out that single, and I think that's kind of obviously a similar sound to where you guys were before. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but is it kind of like the next record that you're you might approach differently? And do you have any ideas how you might go about that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think with Pride and Disaster, it was very much like we're like, okay, we talked a lot about different stuff we could do, but we felt like we should really just kind of figure out what we do best and what people really love about the band on the first album, and just like really like drive that home and hone that in. I think that was great, and we're definitely really proud of that record. But I think going forward, for the next record, we really want to take more time and just have it be more focused and definitely get to experiment a little bit more. And I think like we've grown as songwriters, and I think we're at a point where we can like try different things. And I don't think we're not going to like lose the essence of what makes us sleep on it, you know, but it's like we really want to take more time with the next record, because with Pride and Disaster, it was also like most of that was written on tour. We recorded in between tours, and there just wasn't like a ton of time, or as much time as we would have liked to like sit with it and just like all be in the same room for, you know, a couple weeks and like really sink our teeth into it. I think given the circumstance, the record turned out great and the best that we can do. But as far as experimenting on the next one, we really just want to give ourselves the time to all be in the same room and just kind of like remove ourselves and just really focus on the album and try out some different things. Nothing too insane. We're not about to be like, you know, a country band or anything like that. But
what jump out to you is like some of, I guess, like bands from our world, you know, who like pop punk emo or whatever, who've like made that next record that's totally different. Are there any like in the last few years where you're like, that's really worked for them? I wish, you know, we could do something like that. Well, you know, maybe you will, but are there any that kind of stick out or anything?
Yeah, let me think. Well, one that comes to mind is we've been listening to the new Silverstein record a lot, and I think they're a band that's just, for me, has only gotten better, like with over time. And this new record, I think they really tried some different stuff, but stay true to like the essence of what makes them Silverstein.
What are they doing on their new record? Like, sorry to be ignorant, just I've never been a Silverstein guy, so I don't. I like the guy's podcast, but like musically, I've never really been into them. So what are they? They stepped away from like the screamo thing or whatever.
No, they're definitely still doing that, but it's a bit more like it's produced in a more like modern way. I guess it's not really like a great description, but that's kind of like how I feel listening to it. I think they've like adapted to like something that sounds really cool while still being themselves. I think the new record, they had a couple like guest vocal spots that were really cool and unique, and like I don't know, I think that's something that more people are doing now, and they did it in like a really awesome way that didn't feel forced or anything. They incorporated some like electronic elements that, again, I thought were like sounded really cool without sounding forced or contrived. So
I suppose like what we normally do on these shows is like we kind of take it back to how the band started and stuff, and like I suppose like, can we talk about that a little bit? I know we haven't got loads of time, so we'll kind of breeze through it a little bit. Cool.
Yeah, so beginning of the band, it was Jake, their guitar player in the beginning, when it was we had Luca, our drummer, and then our original vocalist, and then I sort of jumped in just a couple months after that.
Okay.
So that was like really the like first lineup. And that was like 2013. And then we didn't really start like playing shows or putting out music until 2014. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we had that lineup for a couple of years, and then we parted ways with our original vocalist. And then right around the same time, Zach, our vocalist now, was in a band called Bonfires from Chicago.
Yeah.
That we all really liked. And just as fate would have it, he left his band right at the same time.
Okay.
So it was kind of serendipitous in that sense. We met up and we talked about just our influences and goals and what we wanted to accomplish with music, and we felt like it lined up really well. That's kind of led to the current iteration of Sleep on it.
Okay, good. It really sounds like your influences really line up nicely. To an extent that most bands don't. Like, I was watching the thing with you guys talking about, like what your top bands are, and it's just like seemed to be unanimous. Like everyone's saying Jimmy Eat World, Fall Out Boy, Yellow Card, maybe a Taking Back Sunday. I think the drummer maybe had a couple of curveballs, but you guys all seem to be pretty much on the same page,
Yeah. Luke is always the curveball in the band. That's why we love him.
Is he mainly a metal guy, or is it like, or is the stuff that you love his first love as well, and then he just kind of likes that other stuff as well, or is his first thing like bands like Slipknot and Korn and stuff like that?
Yeah, really, those bands are his first love. Is very much Slipknot. Just like new metal stuff like that. That was his upbringing, and he more so started in that, and then kind of shifted the other way, or I guess like more like. I remember when we started the band, I sent him like a long list of bands to listen to, and we all have like bands that we all collectively love together. But he sort of came more from like that scene.
Yeah.
But I think is really cool because he had a sort of different influence for his drumming that I think lends a different sound and different like style to our band and to our songs that I think would be different if he had grown up listening to like the same bands as us, so it's kind of like
that makes sense.
It's a cool like different element that he brings to this band.
But like if you guys said for our next record we're totally going down the System of a Down route, he might be like, oh fuck yeah.
Oh yeah, he would be thrilled. That won't happen, but he would be stoked.
Right. yeah, that would be definitely an unexpected direction for you guys. Not a wise one. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, probably not wise for our career, but like, yeah, he would be stoked nonetheless.
So like, when it really started to gain momentum for you guys, was that when you kind of became friends with the guy from State Champs, or had you kind of built up a following before that? Like how, when did you first start noticing that things are really happening for you guys, that you might be able to, do this, full time or whatever? Yeah.
That was pretty early on with Derek. That was like our first EP with Zach. We just kind of had some like mutual friends. We didn't know them like super well personally, but Derek just really like can get behind and think you guys are a good band. So that was pretty early on. So that was really exciting because we all like really love State Champs, and they're a great band and a big band within the scene. So we're like, cool. So that was really like our first EP. Derek became a part of it, and that's how that started. So it was cool to have him come in as like, hey, I already like the sound of your band. Let's like improve on that. So I think that was cool. I mean, as far as like, I don't know, everything has been a very gradual process. There's never just been like this like huge eureka moment where it's like, oh wow, this is like all working. It's more just like smaller victories along the way.
Okay.
That's maybe just like from our perspective, because we see it like day by day, it's growing in small increments. Every little like opportunity that we get, it's like, oh, it's great. Yeah, we like worked for that. So it feels a bit more gradual from our side, but then like from the other side, it's like, wow, things are like really like blowing up for you guys. It's like, yeah, it's like, well, I guess I see it every day, so I see it a bit more, gradual.
Yeah, sure, of course. So like, what's the play like at the minute? Do you guys like work jobs when you're not on tour, or is it like this basically a full-time thing at this point?
Yeah, when we're home, we like work part-time just to just kind of like help pay the bills and whatever. Some of us are bartenders, some of us just work in like restaurants and stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, we spend a lot of time on tour and a lot of time writing and recording.
Of course.
So we're getting to the point where it's like I said, this is our first headline tour, so this is like a huge like next step for us.
Yeah.
That we're like, cool. There's potentially like a lot riding on this. Like we've been putting in the work on the ground level for a couple of years, doing all these support tours with bands like Don Broco and State Champs and 4 Year Strong and you know, As It Is and This Wildlife, and that was very like purposeful. I think we always knew we wanted to like play the long game and be a band that like, you know, has longevity and can make a bunch of records and continue touring and continue making a living. So it's really felt like this tour, I think, has really felt like the next step up for us in a good way. Yeah,
sure. Have you got any more tours booked for later in the year?
Yeah, we're working on some stuff that I can't really say, but
I had a feeling you'd say that.
Yeah, but there's definitely some cool stuff coming up. More, definitely a lot more shows in the U.S. for the rest of the year.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we got Slam Dunk, like we were talking about earlier, and we're playing the show Trash Boat, and I think that's something we're going to really continue to push even harder for the rest of the year, is like playing overseas. We're making a very like concerted effort right now to not only play the UK but the rest of Europe and hopefully Asia and hopefully Australia. So that's very much on our minds.
So far of your foreign travels, where's been your favorite place to tour?
As far as like internationally, we've really only played like the UK, I guess. And,
okay.
Like, Canada.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
But the shows when we did Slam Dunk 2 years ago, where that was our first time playing overseas anywhere, and I remember the first day of Slam Dunk in Leeds. I was just like, we were just like, felt like baby band, no one knew who we were, and then we played that first show, and it was like a lot of people singing the words, and we're like, this is wild, this is nuts. Like, we've never played here before. So now it'd be cool to come back this year and just like, you know, just hit it again, and what we've like built, and like you said, Rock Sound and like Kerrang have like really supported the band and gotten behind the band. So we're really excited to like kind of see where we're at now that we're coming back.
Nice. What like, so at this point in your career, what have been some of your favorite tours you've done, like favorite bands to tour with?
I think I like every band that we've toured with for like different reasons, and I think we've like learned a lot. One that sticks out in my mind is we had a tour with This Wildlife last spring, and I just like, we just really got along with those guys. They worked insanely hard. Like it was only the two of them, and then they're like TM, who also sold merch, but it was like watching their work ethic like really inspired me and the rest of us to work even harder, because they just grinded, and there's the nicest guys, very, very awesome, very cool to us. And it was also the tour that like we had just parted ways with our old bass player, so that was kind of like a weird situation. So that was our first tour without him, and it just kind of felt like, it just felt good. It was just like, okay, cool, we're taking the next step, we're like figuring some stuff out. So that one really sticks out. I'd also say the tour last fall with Don Broco was awesome. Just to be able to watch their live show every night in a small club. It's like they're putting on a stadium show in like a small club venue. It kind of like pushed my understanding of what was possible for a small show in a smaller club setting.
On the subject of your old bassist, sorry, I've got to ask you this. Are you a fan of Make Out?
Say it again.
On the subject of your old, you mentioned parting ways with your bassist. Just wondered what you thought of the band Make Out, because isn't he in that band now?
Yeah. I won't really answer that too much. But
I was just going to say, and of course we can, you let me know afterwards if there's anything you want me to edit out of this or whatever. But.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, I hope the best for him, and whatever. We'll just leave it at that.
Okay, I like it. Diplomatic answer. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Just sorry, this is a really random question, but I was just curious because, like, you know, so I've been into this scene in and out of bands for years and years, and then I just, you know, noticed myself getting older, you know, like, and then when younger bands come through, I'm just like, it's hard to gauge how old people are now. So I was just like, can I just ask how old you guys are?
Yeah, we're all pretty much in like our mid to late 20s. Jake is just creeped into his early 30s, but yeah, we're all like in that age frame.
Okay, all right, you're not that far behind me then, so okay, that makes
not too bad. Yeah, we're not like spring chickens, but we're not like the old guys either, so somewhere in between. Okay. And like, you know, just when you guys talk about your influences, I think they've got to be roundabout in the section. Yeah.
TJ, I want to thank you so much for giving me some of your time today. Just, is there anything else you want to add before I let you get on with your day in Atlanta, Georgia?
Yeah, no, thank you for having me, Chris. I really appreciate it, and yeah, excited to see you when we come over to the UK in May, and that's really it. Just if anybody out there listening likes the record, just keep sharing it. Like, word of mouth is really the best way to help the band, and thank you again for having me on. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for being on.
Thanks, brother.